So, welcome to all of you. So, in this section of the dermatology, we will going to start the new section, totally new topic. Okay, and name of this topic is the disorders of the sebaceous glands. Sebaceous gland disorder. So, topic is the sebaceous gland disorder. Okay, so topic is the sebaceous gland. Sebaceous gland disorder. Disorders of the sebaceous gland. So first you want to know what are the sebaceous glands. Sebaceous glands are the oil producing glands in our body. They produce the oily secretions. So oily producing glands are the glands that will secrete the oily secretions. So these sebaceous glands can be present in our body in two forms. Okay, so these sebaceous glands be present along with the hair follicle. They can present along with hair follicle. Okay, and these can present alone. So the sebaceous glands are the oil secreting glands in our body, and these sebaceous glands in our body can be present in two forms. First, they can be present along with hair follicle, and they can present alone in our body. And in the both form, they will produce the oil. Okay, so the sebaceous glands that are present along with hair follicles, such sebaceous glands are known as pilosebaceous unit. You know, pilo mean hair follicle. Pilosebaceous unit. Pilo mean hair follicle, sebaceous mean sebaceous glands, and unit mean they are making the combination of hair follicle and sebaceous gland. And the sebaceous glands that are present alone is known as ectopic sebaceous gland. Ectopic sebaceous glands. It means sebaceous glands are the glands in our body that will produce the oily secretions. They are present in two forms. One form they can present along with hair follicle. So hair follicle is known as pilo and sebaceous is sebaceous. So therefore it is also known as pilosebaceous unit, and they can be present alone and also known as ectopic sebaceous gland. So the disorders of the pilosebaceous unit. So what are disorder of the pilosebaceous units are the two types of the disorders. Okay, and this first one is the acne vulgaris. Sorry, acne vulgaris. It means acne, common acne. Vulgaris means common. So first is the acne vulgaris, and next one is the rosacea. Okay, so this is the disorders of the pilosebaceous unit. It means the sebaceous gland that is present with the hair follicle, and disorder of this pilosebaceous unit is the acne vulgaris, and next one is the rosacea. And the sebaceous gland that is present alone are known as ectopic sebaceous glands. So these ectopic sebaceous glands, where they are present, so ectopic sebaceous glands they are present on lips, present on lips. Which one part of the lip? They are present on the fordyces part. Fordyces part of the lip. They are present on the fordyces part of the lip. You know, here is your lip, upper lip, okay, and this one is the total lip, okay. This is the upper yellowish, whitish yellowish border. Which one? So here, upper, on the upper surface, when their mucosa will finish and your epidermis will connect, and this is the upper white yellow edge of the lip. That is the fordyces part. So what is the fordyces part? Upper white yellow border bump. So it means these are present on the lips, especially fordyces part. And disease or disorder of this fordyces part is the Fox fordyces disease. What is this disease? Disease of the fordyces part is the Fox fordyces disease. What is the disease or the disorder? Disorder is the Fox fordyces disease. So it is the disease of the ectopic sebaceous gland. So disease of the ectopic sebaceous gland, and ectopic sebaceous gland that is present on the fordyces part, that is the Fox fordyces disease. It is a benign and need no treatment. So this is the benign conditions, no treatment is required. It means self-limiting. This other name of this Fox fordyces disease is also known as apocrine malaria. Apocrine miliaria, also known as AKA, also known as. So this one, Fox fordyces disease. It is the disease of the ectopic sebaceous glands. That ectopic sebaceous gland is present on the fordyces part, and that fordyces parts are present on our lips, okay. And other name is the apocrine miliaria, miliaria, okay. Next one, other one where these ectopic sebaceous glands are present, second position or second location for the ectopic sebaceous glands, these can be present on the areola of the mammary gland, on the areola of the mammary glands, and name known as Montgomery tubercles. Montgomery, Montgomery tubercles. Okay, so these are present on the lips, and space is known as fordyces spot, and these are present on the areola of the nipples, and that is the Montgomery tubercles. Montgomery tubercles. And third, they are also present on the eyelids. It means our eyelids. You know, eyelids have the eyelashes. Look at this one. This is upper eyelid, and this upper eyelid has the eyelashes. And in this eyelid, there are the some glands, what oil secreting glands, and these oil secreting glands are the meibomian glands. Where? Meibomian, meibomian gland. These meibomian glands have the oil secreting or the sebaceous glands, oily glands. So it means our ectopic sebaceous glands are present on lips, present on the areola, Montgomery tubercles, and on our eyelids, especially in the meibomian glands. So how many types of the sebaceous glands? Sebaceous glands are two types. They present along with the hair follicle, present alone. So when they present along with the hair follicle, also known as pilosebaceous unit, and their disorders are the acne vulgaris and the rosacea. And when they are present alone, that are known as ectopic sebaceous glands. So these ectopic sebaceous glands, where they are present alone, so they can be present alone on lips, present alone on the areola, present alone on the eyelids. So when they are present on the lips, they are present on the Fordyce's part, and disorder of this Fordyce's part is the Fox Fordyce's disease. It is the benign condition and no treatment is required. This Fox Fordyce's disease is also known as Apocrine malaria. Okay, these are present on the areola, Montgomery tubercles, and also eyelids in the meibomian glands. Clear? So let's discuss their disorders of the meibomian glands. So this is the somewhat sebaceous gland. First disorder is the acne vulgaris. So let's move on. First discuss the acne vulgaris and then we will discuss the other rosacea. So first disorders of the sebaceous gland is the acne vulgaris. Acne vulgaris. Okay, so this is the inflammatory disorder of the pilosebaceous unit. What is that? It is inflammatory or the inflammation of pilosebaceous unit. Pilo mean hair follicle, sebaceous means sebaceous glands, and then they combine and make a unit. So look at here. This is our epidermis. Here is the dermis. Here is the hair follicles or hair shaft. This will come down and makes a hair follicle. This is the hair follicle. Along with hair follicle, what is the opening? This is the opening, and here is the sebaceous gland. So this is the hair follicle, and here is the sebaceous gland. Okay, it has the sebum in it, and this is the hair follicle, and this is the sebaceous duct of the sebaceous gland, where the sebum will go and open into our skin along with the hair follicle. So this unit is the pilosebaceous unit. It means hair follicle plus sebaceous glands, and it is the duct, that is the duct for the sebaceous gland. Clear? So it is inflamed. When this area is inflamed, okay, and it is the pilosebaceous unit is going to cause inflammation. So what are the etiologies of the acne vulgaris? This is the disorders of the sebaceous gland. So etiologies that can aggravate the sebaceous gland. So first one is the androgen. First one is the increased androgen production. Second one etiology is the increased interleukin 1 alpha activity. I will discuss in detail their pathophysiology. And the third one is the bacteria. So which one bacteria? Especially there is the propionibacterium. Propionibacterium acne. This is the bacteria. So what are the etiologies? First one etiology is the increased production of androgens like the testosterone, increased production of the interleukin 1 alpha, and bacteria, especially Propionibacterium acnes. Clear? So let's discuss the pathophysiology and discuss the role of all these etiologies. For the acne. So this one is the epidermis. Here is the dermis. Here is the hair follicle, or here is shaft follicle. Here medulla and whatever. So this one is the duct, sebaceous duct, and this one is the sebaceous gland. Here is the sebum. There is the sebum. So when there is an inflammation start, what will produce? Interleukin 1 alpha. It will produce. So this interleukin 1 alpha, it will cause the ductal cornification. This, as a result of the inflammation you have studied, when the inflammation start, interleukin or the cytokines will secrete this cytokine, interleukin 1 alpha. It causes ductal cornification. What is meant by ductal cornification? It means duct will block. Ductal cornification. Duct will block, and it means this duct, sebaceous duct, will block. Why? Actually, ductal cornification is due to the abnormal keratinization. When there is an increased interleukin 1 alpha, it causes the abnormal keratinization. This abnormal keratinization, it means keratinocytes are more and abnormal. So that will cause the blockage of the sebum or the sebum duct. So that is called ductal cornification. So interleukin 1 alpha causes the ductal cornification actually due to the abnormal keratinization. So interleukin 1 alpha, that aggravates abnormal keratinization, that will cause the ductal cornification. It means this sebum duct will block. When the sebaceous glands or the sebum duct will block, so it means there is a more and more sebum will filled here. What will filled here? Sebum will accumulate here, and it will swell due to the excessive accumulation of the sebum or oil that cannot come out. Okay, so then inflammatory response has started here. So what will come here? Neutrophils will surround it, this area. It is surrounded by the neutrophils. So inflammation has started. So this sebum rich gland, this is the sebum rich gland, is taken up by the bacterial proliferation. Then the bacteria will go here. This is the bacteria that will go here in this sebum rich gland. And what is the name of that bacteria? That is the Propionibacterium acne. So cause the bacterial proliferation. This is excessive sebum, so bacterial proliferation will start. So which one bacteria? Especially Propionibacterium acne, that will start its proliferation. Okay, so due to the bacterial proliferation, other neutrophils will come, and finally this sebum will rupture. When this sebum or the sebaceous glands will rupture, so they will show its effect on the skin in the form of acne. This is the pathophysiology. That pathophysiology is due to the interleukin 1. So when there is the interleukin 1 alpha, it will cause the abnormal keratinization. Due to the excessive keratinization, that will cause the ductal cornification. It means sebum duct or sebal duct will block. So when the sebum gland duct will block, sebum will not come out. It will accumulate into the sebaceous glands. So then the bacterial proliferation will start. So due to the bacterial proliferation, further inflammation will aggravate. Neutrophils will come here, and finally, due to the inflammatory response, it will rupture, and this rupture will show its effect on the epidermis or the skin in the form of acne. This is the one pathology. Other one pathology, here we have studied there is an androgen. How the androgen causes the acne. So especially next one pathology, pathophysiology is due to the hormonal changes. Hormonal changes. Especially androgen production is more. So hormonal acne is more common in the patient with PCOD or PCOS, polycystic ovarian disease. We will discuss in the next semester of the Ganyobes, and also other name of the PCOD is the polycystic ovarian syndrome. The patient who have the polycystic ovarian disease or polycystic ovarian syndrome, most commonly this disease happens in the obese patient, obese female. So these obese female or obese patient, what that they have the excessive of the fat. In that fat, obese patient has the too much fat. In that fat, there is a enzyme that is the aromatase. So they have the excessive fat. In that fat, there is a excessive amount of the enzyme aromatase. That enzyme aromatase that will causes the change of the hormones estrogen into the testosterone and testosterone into the estrogen. Okay, so fat have the enzyme aromatase cause the aromatization mean conversion of the hormones into one to other. All these hormones of the cholesterol nucleus, so these are the interconvertible. So what these obese patient, what happens in these obese patient, so they have the increased level of the testosterone. This is the androgen. So when they have the increased level of the testosterone, so this testosterone will again cause the aromatization, and it will turn into the dihydroxytestosterone, DHT, dihydroxytestosterone. That is active form. Dihydroxytestosterone is the active form of the androgen. So this dihydroxytestosterone will bind with the androgen receptors. This will bind because it is active form. So bind with androgen receptors. Okay, where on sebaceous gland. Sebaceous glands also has the androgen receptors, and then this it will cause the release of the it will cause the release of insulin growth factors, IGF, insulin growth factors. Keep in mind, the patient who have the polycystic ovarian disease or polycystic ovarian syndrome, these are mostly obese patients. They have the fat that have the aromatase enzyme. So then they have the increased level of the testosterone that is inactive form. It will turn into the dihydroxytestosterone that is active form. This dihydroxytestosterone will bind with the androgen receptors on the sebaceous glands, and these sebaceous glands will release the insulin growth factors or insulin like growth factors. And this insulin like growth factor, it will cause the growth, it will stimulate the growth of keratinocytes. So abnormal growth of the keratinocytes will cause the ductal cornification, cause ductal cornification. These are two hypothetical pathophysiology. So this ductal cornification, so duct will block. When the duct will block, no sebum will come out, no sebum will come out, and leading to the, so same as duct will block, no sebum will come out, and further phenomena is same. Bacteria will proliferate and then it will rupture and cause the effect on the skin. Okay, mostly, most of the time it will not rupture. Okay, it is not essential that this sebaceous gland or sebum, sebaceous gland should be ruptured. Most of the time it will not rupture, but it will show its effect on the skin. So this is the second pathophysiology, that is due to the other etiology, hormonal changes. Patient who are the polycystic ovarian disease, polycystic ovarian syndrome, most commonly these patients are the obese patient. They have the fat, so and also they have the hyperinsulinemia, hyperinsulinemia, more and more insulin. So here is a question. Wait for question, sir. Sir, how does the ductal cornification lead to the bacterial infiltration? Okay, you know, in glands, actually bacteria are present. You know, these are the when normal flora, like the normal flora, bacteria are already present. But when the oil will go out, so then it means their medium is going to secrete all the time. But when the sebum or oil is not going to out, so this sebum is going to accumulate in our sebaceous glands, so their medium is going to increase. That will give the chance to bacteria to proliferate further. Clear? So hyperinsulinemia lead to the increased testosterone, and that will turn into the active form dihydroxytestosterone. It will bind with the androgen receptors and the on the sebaceous gland, and this sebaceous gland will release the insulin-like growth factor that will cause the growth of the keratinocytes, and this growth of the keratinocytes will cause the ductal proliferation or ductal cornification. This ductal cornification will cause the sebaceous glands duct to block. Then the oil will accumulate or sebum will accumulate. So if in that sebaceous glands any bacteria, it is a good medium for the growth of the bacteria. The bacteria will proliferate and causing the acne vulgaris. So these are the two. Next one, there are the some other things that can cause the acne vulgaris, but that is the most commonly acneiform eruption. So there are the some drugs other than these bacterium, other than these hormones, other than these interleukin 1 alpha. There are the some drugs, actually these drugs cause the acne. Okay, but we call it, they can cause the acneiform eruptions. Mostly, most common they cause acneiform eruptions. I will discuss what is the difference in the acne and acneiform eruptions. These drugs can cause the acne, but most commonly they cause the acneiform eruptions. So which one drugs that cause the acne? Most commonly they cause the acneiform eruptions. So the drugs are the steroids. When you give the excessive use of the steroids, may the topical or the systemic steroids, they can cause the acneiform eruptions or acne. Lithium, okay, androgens, you know, lithium is the hormonal or the mood stabilizers. Okay, so androgens, anabolic steroids, anabolic steroids, you know, the gym lovers, they use these steroids as the anabolic steroids. And also there are the anticonvulsant, like the phenytoin, carbamazepine. Okay, like the phenytoin, carbamazepine. And there are the some vitamin B12, vitamin B12, cobalamin. And also, especially there are the other drugs that are the anti-tuberculosis. So tuberculosis treatment, TTT, tuberculosis treatment, drugs used for the anti-tuberculosis, and we call it ATT, anti-tuberculosis or the anti-tuberculosis treatment. So such drugs are the isoniazid. We write it in the form of the INH, isoniazid, pyrazinamide, pyrazinamide. We write it in the form of PZA. PZA means pyrazinamide. Isoniazid are the anti-tuberculosis treatment, ATT. So that is the isoniazid and the pyrazinamide, and the phenytoin are the carbamazepine as anticonvulsant. Anabolic steroids can cause the acne. Steroids oral are the systemic. When used for longer time, they can cause the acne. Mood stabilizers like the lithium can cause the acne, and the androgens we have studied. The androgens are the excessive use of the steroids, or sorry, testosterones are the androgens. They can cause the acne. Okay, so here is a point. So what is the difference in the acneiform eruption and acne? So difference between acneiform eruption, acneiform eruption versus acne. So what is the difference? How will you differentiate the acneiform eruption or the? So actually, most common trigger factor for the acneiform eruptions are the drugs. So drugs are trigger factor. But here, other than drugs, there are the other some androgens or the inflammatory substances are the also trigger factors. So this is the sudden onset of the lesion. So because this is eruption, it is a eruption. Eruption mean there will be a sudden onset of lesion. And these lesions are most commonly present on trunk after taking the drug. And these lesions has no comedones, no black head or white head. But when you compare it, so these are the not only drug induced, there are the other trigger factors, and all second is these lesions are not present most commonly, these are present on face and have the comedones. So this is the difference. So what are the acneiform eruptions? Eruption mean sudden onset of lesions. So when you take the drugs, so drugs are the trigger factor. So after taking the drugs, there will be sudden onset of the lesions, and most commonly these lesions will be present on the trunk. So when you check these lesions, there will be no black head or the white head. I will discuss. So these black head or white heads are called as comedones. So there will be no comedones. Clear? But here these are acne mostly present on the face, and the comedones are present. It means black head or white head are present. So next one is the clinical features of the acne. Clinical presentation or clinical finding for acne. I'm discussing here acne, not acneiform eruptions. Okay, so clinically, these acne can has the two type of the lesions. Acne or lesions of acne are two types. One is the non-inflammatory. Other is the inflammatory. Inflammatory lesions of acne and non-inflammatory lesions of acne. So which one is the non-inflammatory lesions? So example of the non-inflammatory lesion is the comedones. Comedones. And then these comedones are further divided in two groups. So one is the black head and other is the white head. Okay, so one is the open comedones, other name is the black head. Black head. Other name of the comedones, other type of the comedone is the white comedone or white head or closed comedone. So these are comedones are the, I will show you the image. So these comedones are the non-inflammatory lions. So look at the comedones. First one is the open and black head. White head are closed. Look at these comedones, it will be very good to understand it. So here is the screen have to share. Where are the photos? In the photos you will see there are the different types of, the first one is the white comedones. Look at this image. This is the face. You know, acne is most commonly present on the face. So in this face you can easily observe there are the some white headed, okay, comedones. So these are the white headed comedones and these are not ruptured. And these white headed are these comedones, epidermis is not ruptured, epidermis is intact. What is intact? In this white headed, our epidermis is intact. What is intact? Epidermis is intact. So they are not exposed to the, okay, next one. Look at this image. Easily you can observe the epidermis is not intact, so they will rupture. What will rupture? Oh sorry, epidermis will rupture, and when the epidermis will rupture, so they are ruptured comedones still present on the face, but these are black head. Why they have a black head? It means when these comedones rupture, they have the sulfur group in them, and that sulfur group will oxidize. When that sulfur group will oxidize, they will make the black head. Okay, so these are, they have the ruptured epidermis and have the oxidized with atmosphere, and oxidized with the ATM in atmosphere. So when the epidermis will rupture, so they will oxidize with the atmosphere and leave the black head or black marks. So these are the non-inflammatory. Keep in mind. So lesions are non-inflammatory and we call them comedones, and comedones are the black head or the white head. So closed are white headed and opens are the black headed. It means when the comedones open, then the sulfur group will oxidize into the atmosphere. So next one, lesions are clinically you will see the lesions are the inflammatory lesions. So these inflammatory lesions can be papules, these can be pustules, pustules, okay, pustules. Discussing the clinical presentation, clinical finding of the acne. So there are two types of the clinical finding. One is the inflammatory and other is the non-inflammatory. Inflammatory is the comedones, that can be two type. One is the black head or the open comedones, other is the white head or closed comedones. So non, other than non-inflammatory, next one is the inflammatory. So these inflammatory can be papules, these inflammatory can be pustules, and then these inflammatory can be nodules. Okay, okay, don't worry. I show you the screen of. Now I think it will be clear. So inflammatory can be papules, inflammatory can be pustules, inflammatory can be nodules or the cyst, and we call them nodular cyst, nodulocystic, nodulo cystic. So they can be nodulocystic. That is very severe form of acne. Severe form of acne. Extremely severe form of acne, nodulocystic. And sometime there could be a abscess formation. Abscess formation. But it is not the stage. Okay, so pustules, and nodulocystic. These are the clinical presentation of the acne. Why we are discussing this clinical presentation of the acne? Because next step is the treatment. Our treatment depends on these stages. Okay, so let's discuss the treatment and keep in mind these stages. Treatment will be easy. So for when you will discuss the treatment for each stage is different. Treatment depends on the stage of the acne. It means which one stage of the acne you are going to treat. So treatment depends on the stages dealing with. So treatment depends on stage of acne. Which one stage of the acne you are going to deal with? So that is the first one, treatment for the non-inflammatory. So first stage is the non-inflammatory stage. Treatment for first stage is the non-inflammatory stage. If it means when you are going to treat the non-inflammatory stage, it means you are going to treat the comedones, both blackhead or the whitehead. Then you will use the comedolytic agents. Comedolytic agents. It means comedone breaking agents. And these comedolytic agents are the retinoids. These are the retinoids. These retinoids can be topical and systemic. You can use the topical retinoids most commonly. Topical retinoids are used. And that is the tretinoin. Example is the tretinoin. Okay. And also adapalene. Adapalene. And other is the benzyl peroxide. Benzyl peroxide. So this benzyl peroxide is the mild comedolytic agent. So this is the mild comedolytic agent. But some in the village area they use the sulfur. You know, sulfur has the ability to digest the keratinocytes. To digest the keratinocytes will digest it so that can be used for the acne. Okay, but here you will use the comedolytic agents, and these comedolytic agents are the retinoids. You know, you can use the retinoids topically and the systemic, but keep in mind here you will use the topical retinoids, and in the topical retinoids you will use the tretinoin and also adalapine and also benzyl peroxide that can be used. And next stage, when there is an inflammatory stage, treatment for inflammatory stage. Treatment for inflammatory stage. You know, inflammatory stages are different. So first treatment for the pustules. First stage is the pustular. Pustular stage. It means pus filled lesions. And pustular stage. Pus filled lesions. So I want to show you first what is the pustules or the pustular acne. Look this one. So here is the acne, that is the pus filled lesions. You look at here, these are the pus filled. Most commonly these are present on our face. So this is the pustular acne. These are the small dots, and these dots are filled with the pus and pus filled acne. So that is the inflammatory pustular. Okay, so these are the pustular lesions. So how will you treat these pustules? That is the very dangerous stage. Are so then along with the topical steroids or retinoids. So first you will use the topical retinoids, like the tretinoin, adapalene. Okay, so you will add on. It mean add on. Add on mean you will add the other drugs, and that is the oral antibiotics. Why you are using the oral antibiotics? Because these are pus. So that pus is due to the bacterial infections, and that bacteria is the Cutibacterium acne or the Propionibacterium acne. So when you will use the which one oral antibiotics you will use, that the minocycline, okay, doxycycline, azithromycin. But preferred minocycline or minocycline, it has this side effect. That is the bluish black pigmentation. It causes the bluish black pigmentation. Therefore, you will prefer the doxycycline is preferred. So what is the next stage? For the treatment of the inflammatory stage, first inflammatory stage is the pustular stage. It means pus filled lesions are present on the face. So you give the topical retinoids, and the topical retinoids are the tretinoin, okay, benzyl peroxide. Along with you will add on oral antibiotics, especially minocycline, but it has the side effect that the bluish black pigmentation. So you can continue with the doxycycline and the azithromycin, but azithromycin is not used nowadays. So next one, other inflammatory stage, that is the papules. Treatment for papules. Only papules are present, not a pus filled lesions. Only papules are present. Then how will you treat it? So along with the oral retinoids, oral retinoids you will give, and along with that you will add on, plus you will give the topical antibiotics. Keep in mind here you are going to give the topical antibiotics, not a oral. Topical antibiotics. Why? Because these are only papules, but pustules you will give the oral antibiotics. Keep in mind here is the pustules, you will use the oral antibiotics. So for the pustules, oral antibiotics. For the papules, topical antibiotics. And which one antibiotics? These antibiotics are the clindamycin. These antibiotics are the erythromycin, and these can be nadiflexacin. Nadiflexacin. So these can be used, but preferably erythromycin. It is preferred. Okay, next one is the severe acne. Treatment for severe acne. So treatment for severe acne. Which one form is the severe form? that is the nodulocystic. Okay, and this is the nodulocystic acne. Nodulocystic means nodules and cyst. So that is the relapsing acne. You know, acne will come again and again and makes the nodules and cyst, and this relapsing acne will cause this scarring. It will cause scarring, and these scarring are the nodules and the cyst. So look at the image. Nodulocystic will cause this scarring. So this one is the nodulocystic. It means nodules are present and the cysts are present. So that's the nodulo and cystic. Look at this one. Scarring will happen here. You know, this is the scarring area. But here is the some pustules, and there are the some nodules, and this is the nodules. Here is the nodules, but mostly this area is the scarring. Clear? So this one is pustule. This is a nodule. Here is the nodule, and scar. Scar, scar, scarring. Okay, so that is the nodulocystic or the scarring, and that is due to the relapsing acne. And for the relapsing acne, here you will go give the oral isotretinoin. What is that? Here you give the oral. Keep in mind, all the previously we use the topical retinoids, but here you will give the oral retinoids. And which one? Oral retinoids, isotretinoin. Oral isotretinoin. So you have studied in your biochemistry, the oral isotretinoins are very hepatotoxic. These are the teratogenic. So these are the hepatotoxic and also teratogenic. So should not be used during the pregnancy. If any female who wants to do conception, who wants to continue the pregnancy, so these oral tretinoin should be stopped 1 month before conceiving. Stopped 1 month before conception. Will advise her, if you want to conceive the pregnancy, please stop the tretinoin, oral tretinoin, because it is a teratogenic, and it should be also used after 1 month after the delivery. Okay, so it is very teratogenic. It is present into the class K or X category of the pregnancy. So this is the treatment. So next one is the some variants of the acne. Variant Variants of acne vulgaris. So variants of the acne vulgaris, two variants are most important. Acne conglobata, acne conglobata, and other variant is the acne fulminans. Acne fulminans. This is the two variants: acne conglobata and acne fulminans. Okay, so let's discuss what is the acne conglobata. Acne conglobata mean there is a severe inflammatory acne. So conglobata is the severe and inflammatory, like the nodulocystic acne. Here what will form? There will be formed the nodules and cyst. So that is look like the nodulocystic acne. Okay, that is present on the face and trunk. Present on face and trunk. And other one is the acne fulminans. It means it will cause the fulminating agent. What is the fulmination? It causes the fulminating action. What is the fulminating action? It means it is the fulminant acute ulcerative acne. So fulmination means ulceration. So it is acute cause fulminant causing ulceration. So it is ulcer causing acne. So ulcerating acne. So that is in this ulcerating acne, it is associated with systemic symptoms. It means some systemic symptoms are involved. But on this conglobeta, just only nodules or cyst may be present on the face or trunk, but no systemic involvement or no systemic symptoms. But here it will cause the ulcerations or ulcerating acne. So this ulcerating acne with the systemic symptoms. There are some systemic symptoms will be present. Like what will be systemic symptoms? The arthralgia. What is that? Arthralgia. Okay, don't worry. Variants of the acne. There are the most commonly two variants are most common. Acne conglobata or whatever. So it is the severe but inflammatory. Acne can be present as inflammatory and non-inflammatory. Non-inflammatory are the comedones, but inflammatory. So severe inflammatory is a scarring. Okay, so that acne can be present with the nodules or the cyst, but these are the nodulocystic. So such nodulocystic acne is present on face and trunk involvement. Next one is the acne fulminans. Fulminans mean causing the fulminating action. Fulminating actions mean they cause the ulcerative acne. It means there's an acute fulminant causing ulcerating acne that is associated with the systemic symptoms. So there are some systemic symptoms are involved, like the arthralgia. There will be arthralgia, fever. When this acne happens, so there are the systemic symptoms like the arthralgia, fever, and also you will check there will be increased ESR. Increased ESR, it means there are some infections. So when there are infections, that can lead to the leukocytosis. Leukocytosis due to the infection. Okay, so there are this systemic involvement. So how will you treat both acne? When there is a acne conglobata, how will you treat it? It is nodulocystic. And when there is a acne fulminans, how will you treat it? So I should treat it here. So acne conglobata can be treated with the steroids plus isotretinoin. You will give the steroids plus isotretinoin. That is the retinoids. Steroids and the retinoids are given. Okay, but here for the acne fulminans, okay, I should draw it on the new page. Treatment for the acne fulminans. So you will treat it by giving the oral corticosteroids. First one is the oral corticosteroids. It means you will give the steroids orally, and along with it you will add on the lower dose of the isotretinoin. Lower dose of isotretinoin. Okay, so there are some other variants of the acne. Third variants of the acne is the acne ex cori. Acne ex cori. Acne X cori, EXCORI, acne X cori. Actually, that is excoriated lesion of acne. X cori mean excoriated lesions of acne. This is the excoriated lesions of acne. Excori mean excoriated lesions. So when the acne will excoriated due to the emotional disturbance, emotional or psychological effect of life. So when you are only one dimple or one pimple or papules or pustule on your face, mostly females will become psychologically depressed. So hormonal changes, psychological, emotional fluctuations will happen, and that will cause the excoriation. It means acne will become excoriated, and that excoriated lesions are the hyperpigmentation. They cause hyperpigmentation. And how will you treat it? Just counseling. Just counseling. You will do the counseling. Okay, no need to treat this one excoriate, because these are the excoriated lesions of acne. Only one lesion were present, and then you will become excoriated due to the emotional or the psychological problems. Okay, so fourth one is the body dysmorphic disorder. So page number 15. So here is the fourth one variant is the body dysmorphic disorder. Morphic disorder. What is the body and dysmorphic and disorder? It is this acne is a mild. Okay, so here is the mild acne. Keep in mind mild acne. Initially there is a mild acne, but psychologically it will become. So here is the you look at it. This is the here is the acne or the acne papules. Here is the papule. So it means you will irritate this papules, rupture this papule. Then again you will irritate again and again. Multiple time you are causing the irritation because you have become psychologically depressed. So this papules will spread to the body different areas. They are the dysmorphic. It means this is only one was morphic, and when you rupture it or irritate it, there are the multiple dysmorphic papules. So that is the psychological impression. Psychologically you are going to irritate the one papules, so that will become disrupted and make a dysmorphic papules of the acne on your body. So here is the no treatment, just you will go the psychiatric treatment. It is also most common into the females. So here the psychiatric treatment is required because only one papule will present and you want to remove that papule, but it will become more and more aggressive. Okay, so here you will take the also family history. In this family, maybe some acne are due to the family history or history of family, and some acne is present in the polycystic ovarian disease or polycystic ovarian syndrome. So when you feel that the acne in the history of the family or family history have the acne, so you will give the isotretinoin. And you when you check there the acne is due to the polycystic ovarian disease or polycystic ovarian syndrome, so you will give the medicine for eradication of the polycystic ovarian syndrome, and you use the OCPs, oral contraceptive pills. Okay, so oral contraceptive pills are given for the treating the polycystic ovarian syndrome. So here you are going to eradicating the trigger factor. Triggers factors are going to eradicate. Okay, so this is the somewhat we have studied about the acne. So next in the start of the lectures I told you there are the two types of the disorders of the sebaceous glands. So one is the acneal gyrus, so you have completed your acneal gyrus, and next one is the rosacea. So let's discuss some or few points related to the rosacea. It is not a bigger explanation, just only few points. So next disease is the rosacea. So it is also disease of the sebaceous glands. So it is the inflammatory disorders of the facial convexicities. What is that? It is the inflammatory disorder like papules, pustules, okay, nodules of facial convexicities. Facial convexity they're present on chin. So look at this is the forehead. Here is the cheeks and chin. So what is this shape? Lesions are present on forehead. Lesions are present on cheeks. Inflammatory lesions are present on chin. So that are making the diamond shape involvement. What is involvement? Diamond shape involved. So involved the diamond shape area of the face. So these lesions involved diamond shape area of face, and we call it facial convexities. It means the lesions are present on forehead, cheeks and chin. So what are the triggering factors? Okay, triggers or trigger factors or etiologies or risk factors. Triggers here are the sunlight. I will discuss why the sunlight is a trigger factor. Hot, spicy food, hot and spicy food, tea and coffee, and sometimes there is a fluorinated toothpaste. Fluorinated, you know, maximum toothpaste has the iodized, but some are the fluorinated toothpastes. Why? Because these persons are very sensitive to the sunlight. So they tend to blush or flush early. You know, when they will expose to the sunlight or hot spicy food. So they tend to flush or blush early when exposed to the sunlight. Why? Because their vasculature of the skin is very, very sensitive. Because vasculature, blood vessels of skin is very sensitive. Rosea means rose shape. So flushing means redness of the skin. Okay, you know when the females do the makeups, so their cheeks are flushing. Okay, so there are the axial flushing. It means when the Asian people drunk, then there is the axial flushing because their vasculature is very, very sensitive. And then they have the lesions on the forehead, cheeks, and the chin. So next one is the stages. So here are the stages of the rosea. So first one is the transient stage. Transient stage. It means these flushing will occur, or the transition flushing will occur on the face, occurs and disappear. Okay. So flushing will occur in the first stage, that is the transient stage. Flushing will occur on the face and then disappear automatically. But when it will not disappear, then it will turn into the persistent flushing. So initially it is a transient, but automatically disappear. But when it will not disappear, it will remain permanent. We call it persistent flushing. Next stage is the rhizomatotelangiectatic rosacea. Rhizomatotelangiectasia like telangiectatic rosacea. Rhizomato mean inflammation, telangiectasia type, and rosacea mean these are the flushing of the face. Okay, and that is the persistent erythema of the face. Okay, so what is that? It is the persistent, sorry, persistent erythema. Erythematous mean inflammation, redness. Okay, so that is the persistent erythema on diamond shape on face. So that is the erythematotelangiectatic rosacea. Next one is the papulopustular. Papulopustular rosacea. Papulo means papules are present and pustules are present. And these papules and pustules are present on the face in a diamond shape. Okay. Next one is the nodular swelling. And that nodular swelling is the phymatous. Okay. Next one stage is the 18. Next one is the fourth one stage. And that fourth one is the phymatous. PHY phymatous rosacea. Phymatous means nodular swelling. Nodular swelling. And this nodular swelling is called as potato nose. What you call it? Call it potato nose. And this is the nodules present on the nose, and this is called as rhinophyma. Rhinophyma. So these are the different stages. Phymatous rosacea. Okay, last one is the treatment. This is not too much important, just only we're discussing it. So what are the trigger factor? Sunlight, so avoid the sunlight. Use the sunscreens. Okay, so sunscreens or sun blockers are used. Okay, you can use the topical metronidazole. Topical metronidazole. Topical metronidazole is suggested, or oxalic acid. Oxalic acid. And also you can give the low dose of the doxycycline. Low dose doxycycline are preferred. So this is the treatment for the rosacea. So first one, avoid the sunlight. It means you have to remove the triggering factors. Okay, and then you can give the metronidazole topically and also azelaic acid. So low dose of the metronidazole. So these are the different stages. First one is the transient stage. It will turn into the persistent flushing, and then is the erythematotelangiectatic rosacea. So it is the persistent erythematous erythema of diamond shape on face. And that next one is the papulopustular. That means papules and pustules are present on the diamond shape facial convexities. And last one is the phymatous rosacea. And phymatous rosacea is the nodular swelling, and that nodular swelling is the rhinophyma. Rhinophyma means potato nose. Potato nose. Clear? So treatment is not only important, just avoid the sunlight, and you can use the topical metronidazole, azelaic acid, and the low dose doxycycline. So inshallah, in our next lecture, we will move on to the dermatological imaging discussion. I will show you the image, and then we will discuss the image based dermatology. Discussion of the image based dermatology. Clear? So next lecture will be last lecture for the dermatology. So in tomorrow lecture, just only this week. Okay. So you want to continue the next week or this week? Actually, today we got all these teachers got a message from the university. Take the exams of the students as soon as possible. I am going to tell you that like okay message that we get from the university. Okay, what is the message for the teachers? You will understand it very well. Meaning of the okay. Listen. Hello, respected teachers. Please arrange the examination in advance as much as possible. If there are the students who failed in the examination in this semester or the last semester or before, arrange their makeup examination before the 20th of the January and submit their result on the following email address. It means they have pursued us to take the examination as soon as possible. Now ball is in your court. What you do? You want to continue your lecture or you want to stop your lecture? It depends on
Stop.
you.
Stop lecture.
All the lectures.
It
You okay? You want to stop the lecture for derma or pediatrics both?
only
Both.
for derma.
So stop. Some students are going with the stop the both, sir. Okay. So so next after the class here is the what you